Welcome back to another episode of Positively Uncensored, your favorite reality and TV podcast, TV and interview podcast. My name is Leah, and I'm your host, and I'm early. So, in case you're listening to this after the fact, I was supposed to go live this evening at 7:15, and then I ended up with some free time ahead of the live. I've been scrolling my phone, I've been getting my thoughts in order, and I thought, why not just hop on early and start getting into things? And I'll probably end up on here at the time until the time of the original start, anyways. So we have so much to talk about. Nicolandrians, we need rest. We need rest. There has been like outfit change after outfit change, press conference after press conference, and all of these interviews, so much to keep up with. Islanders one by one are going on their social media and giving away some sort of tea or some sort of info about the reunion. So we're going to talk about all of it. The Watch What Happens live appearance with Nick and Alandria, Brian and Amaya were on as well. We're also going to talk about Alandria's first solo interview with Tish Cyrus on the Sorry We're Cyrus podcast. I'm going to talk about the weird behavior on Nick's live the other day from the guys that he was with that are not his real friends and he should get away from. I'm going to go into, like I said, the tea that the other Islanders are giving about the reunion. And then I'm also going to talk a little bit about BuzzFeed's alleged apology, pull up that article and talk about that. So we have tons of stuff to get into. Before we get into Watch What Happens Live, the after show, all of that stuff, I wanted to start with what Zach is saying about the reunion. And if there's one thing that we can count on Zach for, it's to give information. It's to give information. So I'm grateful for that. I'll take anything that we can get. Let's get right into it.
Between some people, I can't say who. You guys gonna have to wait. You guys gonna have to wait until the 25th. Nah. You know who the drama who's with? The drama was with. I think there's more. Okay, there was more drama with the girls than the boys. That's all I can say. Okay, how about that?
That's all I can say. And then he proceeds to tell us a lot more.
Wait, insane ways to eat a chicken wing. How the fuck are you supposed to eat a chicken wing? How else am I supposed to eat it, bruh? Yeah, Sierra was not there. I can confirm Sierra was not at the reunion. She wasn't allowed to go. But she was talked about, though. She was talked about. Who crashed out the most? Who was crying? You know what? I can't give too much away, but two people cried. Two people cried during the reunion. All right. Do you guys want more tea? You guys want more tea? Shall I give you hella tea? You know what's crazy? You guys fucked it up for yourself. Because I used to come on here, yeah? Give you guys so much tea, and then y'all start. Give you guys so much tea, and then y'all start clip farming and posting it everywhere. So that's why I don't be coming on these lives anymore. I got some chicken quesadilla.
So basically that's the extent of what he told us. So Sierra is not at the reunion. Two people cried and there was more drama than he anticipated. That's what I got from that. Am I shocked that there was more drama between the girls than the guys? No, because I already see the guys hanging out with people where I'm like, ew, why are you guys hanging out together? Like, why are you guys friends? So no, I'm not surprised by that in any regards. I am surprised that Zach K was at the reunion because if anybody remembers, he posted that he was in Toronto, like trying to troll and get people off the scent that he was going to the reunion. So I'm most surprised that he was there. If you're in the live, again, I'm sorry that I'm early, but if you're here, please like the live so that other people can be alerted. And E1, thank you so much for tuning into my content. Ew, this guy, LOL. Okay, let's watch Nick on live. I don't know when this was, but I saw the clip last night and I had some thoughts and feelings on it. And I'm curious what all of you think. Okay.
All the food is. Yeah, I'm not snacking. It's not hard, bro. Hard, right?
Brian's gonna be running up my check, dude.
Chips, but Nick is rich.
Bro,
That's like one galaxy.
who said that? Who said
I saw a line on there. I think I know how much the line did.
Oh, yeah. You already missed it.
There's no more in there.
Brian?
Let me point out, so what's going on? Like, let me give you some context in case you just happen to be listening to this and tuning in on my podcast. What's going on is Nick is on who I believe his live. I think it's his live, but like everybody keeps getting in front of the live. Zach sings throughout like the entirety of the live, which it like really makes no sense. But like Zach occasionally comes out, bursts in song. And what's happening is the guys, I think, are at Nick's place eating all of his food, which costs money to eat, like Vegas. And Nick's asking them to not eat the stuff. And they're basically like playing in his face the whole time and being disrespectful and saying that like he's rich, he can afford it. And so they're going to eat his snacks.
Brian deadass open. Chat. Do I charge Brian for opening a $6 bag of little pretzels?
Yeah, I think so.
Nick, you're rich.
JD, that's crazy.
DJ, you want to
Help yourself. He's rich.
I don't mind, Brian.
Don't worry.
There he goes again. Like Zach is so weird. Zach C, get this guy out of here.
He's rich. I mean,
Bro, actually, Pepe. Oh my God. Pepe.
keep singing.
it's okay. He's rich.
I saw you get a line. A line's like at least $300 or something like that.
I'm gonna crash.
You got a line?
I'm crashing.
That's so weird. The fact that they're watching him that closely, you got a lime. That's at least $300. Brian, you just won $50,000, said you were donating it to charity, bought yourself a roly with a bag of ranch. Like, I'm sorry. Why isn't this on your dime?
Yeah, that was
Nick's crashing
He
out, guys.
doesn't even drink, bro. Why is he opening it?
And what it is it's jealousy. Like all of them are jealous that they don't have the traction or like fans that Nick has right now. And that's why they're upset.
I don't know how to open it either. That's how you know it's bad. How do you open it?
I don't know how to open it.
Nick, he just opened the bottle of wine.
I'm not doing it. Brian did it.
TJ, what?
No, I'm
TJ, what? Listen, he asked how. Listen, this looks bad, but
TJ has an opener and a bottle.
No.
You know how much that is, chat? Do you know how much that is, chat?
then you twist. You put it in and you twist.
How much actually is it?
It's
Look,
24
look,
bucks.
You're gonna take the wax off?
$24 for a mini bottle of wine. I'm crashing out.
How you doing?
So mind you, he's standing there and asking them not to open the wine. He's like, and like they're just continuing anyways. Like just to be clear, that's just super rude. Like that's super rude and super bad karma. First of all, you're not supposed to go over somebody's house empty-handed. Okay. But much less go over their house and use stuff that they're asking you not to.
No, you gotta take the.
That's why I don't want to do it.
Now
You
he's,
gotta take
now
the
he's
top
ruined
off.
it. Now he's ruined it.
You guys, you gotta take off the.
Just open the other bottle.
The wine should be.
Yeah, so they can't get that wine bottle open. So now they're going to open up another bottle. So that's $48 when you because you can't drink the first. Look at TJ. I can't stand TJ.
Hey, let me just redo it. Let me redo it.
And TJ, though, that look that he just gave Nick, TJ can tell that Nick is starting to get annoyed. That $50K might run out pretty soon while Nick is booked and busy. Absolutely. And that's why they're upset. Nick needs to get away from TJ and Brian ASAP. Doesn't Brian still owe Nick for the Airbnb in LA? That's the word on the street.
Bro, why you think I'm doing
Bro, Brian.
Actually getting annoyed. Really annoyed.
Reopen.
Brian does owe me $350. Brian, I'm interest.
Nick, you don't
tax.
need that.
Yeah, JD,
You're rich.
they're rage baiting. That's what they're doing. They're rage baiting. I get it.
I screwed up. You guys.
They're so jealous of him. JD's like getting his hair cut in the corner. Like, it's just like, Nick, why are you? I'm gonna be honest. I thought it was weird when Nick said that who he was gonna potentially move in with Chris Bryan. Was it Chris Bryan and somebody else? At least Chris and Brian in LA. I'm like, no, no, like let's not, like that's not feeling like your crowd, your people. I think that he can keep Pepe. He doesn't seem problematic. Yeah, Pepe wasn't overly involved in this. Agreed. And Pepe is a Nicolandrian and has been since day one.
You guys really don't know how to open one, huh?
And why is Zach here?
Let's
Like, you're
just
so
clear up the
irrelevant.
water,
And
bro.
JD,
All the
because D
food is-
stands for dominant.
Yeah, I'm not Irish. Let's just get snacking.
He was right, though.
It's not Irish.
Bro,
hard, right?
Brian's gonna be running up my check, dude.
Chips. But
Nick is rich.
Okay, my bad. It started to replay over again. And with my ADHD, I did not catch that. Okay. Next thing I'm going to show you guys is the Watch What Happens Live. I don't know. I think that they're just weird. It's weird. It's weird energy. I'm like, Nick, that's not your friends. And as you start having more money, more success, more opportunities, he's going to have to quickly sort of gauge like who's genuinely around him for the right reasons. In the comments, someone said, Anthony said, I don't care for Ace, but he will never, he doesn't do something like this. Exactly. Ace has his own money. Bye. Like this, it's like corny. It's like corny too. Okay, so before I play this clip from the Watch What Happens Live after show, so that I don't get a ding by opening up Peacock and playing the actual episode, I'm going to go through the beginning segment because this is the Watch What Happens Live after show. But I want to talk about the before segment, go over a couple of things, and then we'll dive into that. So the first question that they were asked, and by the way, Nick and Alandria look absolutely stunning. Not only is Alandria's team phenomenal, they like you can't catch her slipping. Every outfit change for every vibe that she's going for, like she every interview and press thing that they've scheduled for her, like it's just so good and it's cohesive with Nick's team because the way that they coordinated for this Watch What Happens Live is one of my favorite outfits. Like it's one of my favorite outfit coordinations that they've had. And yeah, I don't know who Nick's team is, but they're doing a good job as well. They're doing an amazing job. So the first question that they were asked on Watch What Happens Live was, were you on the Nicolandrian train? And the audience answered 64% yes, 36% no. I would say that that's probably pretty accurate because if the numbers were like 80-20, I would say a lot of you are lying and we're not Nicolandrians day one because I saw and heard people's reactions when true Nicolandrians would talk about that and see the chemistry and connection from day one, but 36% not agreeing. That sounds about right. What I'm happy to hear is 64% yes. Overwhelmingly. Okay. Next up, who left the villa too soon? I thought that this was interesting. Okay. The cast said that Jeremiah left the villa too soon, whereas the audience thought that Hannah left the villa too soon. This is also where we learned that Nick never voted for Jeremiah to leave. He actually voted for Austin to leave. So this idea again, that like Ace is the ringleader and he was able to convince everybody. I've said since early days, that's not it. It's the fact that Ace has a very strong personality and they kept giving us clips to reinforce that. And what it made it seem like is like the other guys were either more passive or just didn't share their opinion. That's not the reality. Everybody was giving their opinion. Everybody was being vocal. And the way that they framed the edit was to make it seem like Ace was the one driving that. Oh my gosh, thank you to everybody who's joining. I'm so glad that more than just a couple of people were able to catch me while I'm on for the live. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. They still remain on the fact that Hannah should have gone home. Moving along to the next part, was Ace the ringleader? No. And 1 for me, because I don't remember which podcast episode I made this prediction. But if you've been listening to me for a couple of episodes and you're not new, at some point I talked about how Austin was going to try to have a moment at the reunion with Ace. And I was going to add that to my bingo card. And we got confirmation that that definitely happened. Like Austin definitely tried to accuse Ace of being the ringleader. I knew that he would. I knew that he would try to have some sort of moment, and he really doesn't have any other moments to be had aside from that. Now, if you, as you're coming in, let me know what you would like to hear at the end of this live. I can either give you guys some predictions of what I think is going to happen at the reunion, or I can tell you guys some of the questions that I would have liked to hear at the reunion, because I have options for both. Okay, who's the better match for Taylor? Clark or Alandria? Like, obviously Clark, because Alandria wouldn't have put up with him for this long anyways, and she's with her perfect match, okay? Which, by the way, perfect match this season sucked. Absolutely sucked. I don't even know if I'm going to do a video on that, but if I do, it's going to be the whole season in one. It stunk. Which couple will last longer? This was tea. It was between Alandria and Nick and Brian and Amaya, and 76% of the audience said that Nick and Alandria will last longer. I don't know. I'm kind of a conspiracist. When I heard that, I'm like, can we see the numbers? Can we see the numbers for the polls, the final polls? Because did Nick and Alandria win? Like, did they win? If the audience numbers were in favor, I don't know. I'm just curious, right? I'm seeing in the chat, have you seen his recent comments to Clark on live? I have. Like, I'm not going to yuck anybody's yum. Like, it seems like him and Clark have like this like poking at each other style humor, but I don't like it. I don't like it. And I think it's not a great precedent to set in your relationship. But I'm not one of those people who thinks it's fun for my partner to constantly make fun of me. Like, a little bit here and there, love to laugh at myself, but I don't want to generally feel like I have an op in the room. And I kind of feel like that's what Taylor's giving. Okay, continuing on. Andy reveals during Watch What Happens Live that it was a dramatic moment with Alandria and Chelley seeing Huda for the first time since the end of Love Island. He also said that he also confirmed, and this was also going to be on my bingo card, because what would this reunion be without the extended footage? And it's also uncensored on Peacock, so there's no reason for them not to show it. But we definitely see the extended, the full clip for the heart rate challenge. And I'm looking forward to that, because in quotes, he says that it was revelatory to the group. Because of course you guys have to watch back what you were already present for to believe Chelley about something. Right. Like that still annoys me, to be honest. Let's see. Okay, they made a joke during Watch What Happens Live about how Nick lasted 20 seconds in the bedroom, obviously referencing his time with Sierra. He said time out during that joke. I love how he tries to shut down the conversation about Sierra and doesn't really want to dwell or think on that, because like, ew. Ew, you know? Let's see. Were they blindfolded? I don't believe so. I believe the heart rate challenge was the one where everybody watched, because I remember it's like you do your big one at the end by bringing someone up to the podium. And I think that Huda chose to bring up Ace. But hey, we'll see it right in front of our faces and have everything confirmed. I do think it's fun to just learn like small things about Nick and Alandria. Like, I thought it was interesting that neither of them were on a dating app, but both Brian and Amaya were on Hinge prior to coming to the experience. Like, they just have like these very small things in common with each other. I also thought it was fun to learn how they flirt with each other in text messages, because one of the things that I've always wanted to ask Serena and Cordell if I get to interview them, but Nick and Alandria, I'm going to say when I get to interview them, I want to know what they put each other in their phones as. Like, I'm just dying to know small things like that. But Nick flirts with the eggplant and the peach emoji, just really putting it all out there. Okay. Like a forward man. And Alandria flirts more demure with a smirk emoji. I also thought it was interesting, a little behind the scenes tidbit that we learned that everybody had a pair of earplugs for nighttime, but it really didn't make a difference into hearing or not hearing the person in the bed next to you hooking up. 4 out of 4. So Brian, Amaya, Alandria, and Nick, none of them watched the season back. And I'm one of the people who, like, I see both sides. On one hand, this was their reality. So yes, they miss side conversations, but as far as big moments, I feel like they see it. I feel like it could be potentially triggering to watch back or even just mess with them mentally, seeing how something is edited and construed. And then on the other hand, I feel like there's some things where unless they hear those moments or see very specific clips, then they're just going to be out of the loop. It's like, do I think it's better to be out of the loop than for Chelley and Alandria to watch something that harms them though? Honestly, yeah. Like, I'm going to be very honest. That's my personal opinion, just coming from being an empath for a moment rather than just caring more about content. So we learned that Brian bought his first Rolex. I feel like the look Amaya gave him during this said to me that, like, how are you going to explain this one? That's what I felt. I also thought like Brian is a clout chaser. I'm just going to say it. Brian's a clout chaser. When I hear that Nick used his fame to get into a restaurant, and maybe this is me, maybe this is a double standard, and it's like me just like admitting that I had just have more of a preference for Nick because I like him and Alandria's relationship, but they both use their fame to get into a restaurant. And the first thing I had to think of was like, I know Brian was the winner, but when I even like put the cast seating chart together, I put everybody on there and I'd forgotten Brian. Like I had forgotten Brian. Like I would be like, and who are you? Like if I saw Brian standing there with Amaya, I would recognize them and be like, okay, yeah, like come on in. But I would be like, okay, and who are you? I would not recognize him. I like hearing Alandria asked what their favorite kiss was between Soul Ties and Congratulations. And Nick picked Congratulations. And Alandria's response was like, really? And I thought that made me think, was your favorite Soul Ties? So I'm kind of curious. I would love to dive into that more with them. But for Nicolandrians, where we're constantly debating which kiss was better, it was satisfying to hear them talk about it. What do you mean by Amaya wondering how Brian was going to explain? What I mean by that, going back to Brian spending his earnings, is that initially I believe Brian said that he was going to use his earnings to donate them to charity. And then before we've heard where Brian and what organization Brian donated his money to, we instead heard that he went out and got a Rolex. So I think a lot of people are of the impression that Brian could potentially be a scammer. And I'm kind of seeing that. Yeah, exactly. For A and B to be the winners, I think it's very telling that majority of their interviews are with Nicolandria. Exactly. I don't remember them doing this with Serena and Cordell. I don't either. Thank you, always priceless. That's a good point. I don't remember that either. So yeah, it's just very telling. I also saw the body language, multiple interviews between Brian and Amaya, and I'm not getting this comfortability. There's not this comfortability to just reach over and lean on one another or hold hands or like comfort each other through these like brand new experiences that could definitely induce anxiety. Like it just feels like there's not, I don't think they're still together. And I think that we're going to find that out, whether it's at the reunion or in a couple of months. That's personally what I think. Brian doesn't like allow Amaya to like lean into him. It just seems like something's going on there behind the scenes. That's my prediction. Let's see. Okay, so they had some questions at the end. I was like, what does this say? Okay, so audience members got to ask questions, and Nick and Alandria were asked, what do you say to the skeptics? And their answer to this was, we didn't know that people were shipping us until after we got outside of the villa. So our genuine interest in one another had nothing to do with any of the outside audience's desire to see us getting together. And also, we may not be doing PDA the way that we were doing PDA in the villa, but you guys already had the opportunity to see us that way. And now we're just being comfortable navigating our relationship. I loved that answer. I also think that seeing them hold each other's hands when they're not forced to kiss each other in a challenge, there's something so intimate about that. It feels like anybody who says they're in a fake relationship, I'm like, excuse me. I'm like, where? Like, you're projecting much. They played a game called Truth or Nick Twerks. And the first question was for him to rate Baldasha's kiss. He said it was a 7.5. I feel like anything lower would kind of be disrespectful or mean, so I can appreciate a 7.5. The next question was like, what does Alandria think about Chelley's relationship? And she says that she sees them going all the way. She's talking engagement. She's talking marriage. Who gained the biggest ego? I believe Brian was asked that, and Nick twerked. And this was the segment where Alandria was like, there you go, baby, twerk that ass. And behind him supporting. 50K is not that much after taxes. I used to make a 60K salary, and that's not a lot after taxes. Now factoring that he bought a Rolex, he's not giving anything to charity. I was thinking about taxes too. I'm heftily wondering, that's a good 10K off it at least right there, right? They have true non-performative intimacy. Exactly. That's what I'm seeing between Nick and Alandria. Which Islander had the most red flags? Nick again twerked. Nobody answered this question, but everybody knows that it's on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Huda. Everybody knows it. Okay. Now, the next question was for Amaya, and they asked who was a better match for Huda, Jeremiah or Chris, and she said Chris. Huh. If neither was an option, I would think that would be the answer. I'm just trying to think, like, if Chris was the better match for Huda, I think Huda's best match. H stands for hooligan. Does anybody remember that song, Miss Me, Kiss Me? It was so niche, but it was like back when I was in 7th grade and people did the jerk to it. That's what that line's from. H stands for hooligan. Let's see who overstayed their welcome in the villa. Brian and Amaya both said that Zach K did. I thought that was hilarious. Oh, wait, was it Brian and Amaya or Alandria and Amaya? Basically, the whole stage agreed. Zach K overstayed his welcome. Nick got his hair pulled by Andy to make sure that it was not a toupee. And then we found out that Brian and Amaya took the longest. I'm sorry, Brian and Huda took the longest showers by Amaya. That's pretty much the full of Watch What Happens Live. Now, the after show, there were some great questions that the staff got to ask. I love that Andy included his staff because the questions just wouldn't have landed the same coming from him. And it's just also nice to see him include people like behind the camera, behind the stage, and hear what they have to say. The question I'm about to play was my favorite question that Alandria answered. And rather than try to paraphrase what she was asked or what her answer was, I thought that I would play this moment and then briefly talk about it.
Many women, especially Black women.
That's so rude. Not giving us a Dorito ad in the middle of an important moment.
You talking about how strong you've always had to be. And I just want to know, is there anything that you're doing going forward to encourage you living a softer life?
Yes. Unfortunately, in the villa, I had to just put on this strong suit because I know not only was I representing myself, but I was representing women and Black women specifically around the world. I actually feel like before we came into this world, Black women already had a label. They're so quick to label us as like angry Black women. So that one moment of weakness that I had, people was like, okay, that's the real her. I'm like, well, no, What about when I was poised in situations I should have acted out in? Like, what about those moments?
Exactly.
You were so quick to label me when that moment of weakness, and that's not fair, you know? So after all of that, I was like, you know what? I'm so happy that I was blessed with this guy who allows me to bask in my femininity. You know what I mean? Allows me to be soft. You know what? He takes the wheel. Usually I'm a control freak. I'll let him do everything. You know? I said I want to go to Europe. We was in Europe. I want to be a model. I was in
like a couple of things to pause. Her saying that she had to be strong in the villa and now she's like she doesn't have to do that. We saw that. I started to feel immense compassion and also annoyed at the cast members taking Alandria's kindness for granted and turning her into like the villa's therapist. I'm like, she's here to have an experience for herself. And prior to getting here, she has not known any of you. So I knew that she had to be feeling that pressure and a pressure that I can't relate to. But leave room for her to talk about is the pressure that she felt as both the oldest of 6 and as a Black woman going into the villa and knowing that her actions were already going to be vilified however she reacted. So just trying to, I'm sorry, not even trying to, having to keep that in mind at moments where she should have been able to just react as a white woman would or as Huda would.
2 shoots. You know what I mean? Like the support that I have from this guy is unreal. So it allows me to be the soft woman that I've always wanted to be. So I'm so grateful.
That's so sweet. You deserve it.
Thank you.
And that's so important too, like the soft woman that she's always wanted to be, like in touch with her femininity, that soft side. It's also such a huge deal that she is letting Nick take control. As a fellow control freak, you can't relinquish that control to somebody whom you don't trust or whom hasn't proved to you that you can depend on them with their actions. Like that space of not knowing what they'll do with your trust and if they'll convert their words that they said that they would do into actions, like provides a lot of anxiety. So knowing that she doesn't have to do that, it just makes my heart happy for her. It makes my heart happy for her. Kendra Williams says, I hate to center him, but Nick deserves his flowers. I know he's getting hate from bigots too. So I love that he still supports and protects her. I absolutely agree. Thank you for adding in that. I don't want to center Nick either, but I'm just grateful for some of the things that he does. Even when he said when they left the villa that he wasn't letting Alandria spend time on her phone and that he was checking things, he was posting for them. You know, that's important. Like that's important to have somebody take that initiative and take those steps. It also meant a lot to me that he included her in the campaigns that he had set up prior to getting there to help her fulfill and put into action what she wants to be a model. Because let's be clear, Nick, his face card is great, but Alandria will be 100 times the model that Nick is. I'm so sorry. She's meant for Vogue. She's meant for Vogue. She's meant for Teen Vogue. She's meant for, I don't know many brands. I don't know any brands. I always prove how unsophisticated I am when I don't know designer brands. I don't know anything. So if I did, know that I would insert that there. Okay. Is there anything else that I wanted to talk about from the Watch What Happens live show? And you know what? It's also just important to point out that Alandria wasn't wrong in her perception. Like she wasn't wrong in her perception of the fact that America would do that because they did. She got called angry. She got called mean girl, her and Chelley, for like the smallest comments to Huda, who was on a rampage across the villa, slinging bitch at everybody within her sight. So and that's what's frustrating. Like that's what's frustrating is that she has to wear that burden and that she was correct. Both of which. Is there anything that I wanted to point out besides this? I also did think it was interesting that Nick answered that he was not surprised that Huda and Chris broke up, just because if there's one thing that Nick is, it's honest. Okay. And to know that he also voted to send home Austin, the MAGA idiot, thank you. Thank you. Oh, and to anybody who's coming in late, thank you for commenting. Thank you for going back to watch it. Pretty thing. I'm sure you are beautiful because you're here in my stream and uplifting me. Thank you. Nick cannot lie. Okay. That's what my 6th grade teacher, Mrs. H, told me. She asked me, did they do that? Okay. Did Rachel do that? I said, Rachel did that. She believed that kid. I saw her do it. I can't tell a lie. He can't tell a lie. Exactly. Thank you, Kiki. If Alandria had done 1/10 of the things that Huda did, she would be the most hated person on reality TV because people are anti-Black. Absolutely. Now, I was going to bring up their Good Morning America video, but I'm going to be so honest with you. We learned nothing. We learned nothing. You might as well go turn on like Love Island season 7 recap of the season because it was mostly just moments and then a quick question. Now, should you go seek out the press photos of Alandria in her mint green dress with her perfect ponytail? Barbie. Yes, you should. Yes, you should, because she looks stunning. She looks absolutely stunning. The way that she's changing outfits, I've said this before, I'll say it again. It feels like life size. It feels like Eve. And because she's a Tyra Banks girly, I think that she would appreciate that. Okay, moving along, let's talk about Alandria's first solo episode with Tish Cyrus, whom I did not know had a podcast. And not only didn't know how to podcast, but to be honest, I just didn't, I didn't have high expectations when I heard about the interview initially, just because I'm like, it's Miley Cyrus's mom, a white woman from the South who was married to Billy Ray. Like I just wasn't sure, but the conversation was natural. It was comfortable. It was enlightening. It was nuanced. It gave Alandria space. And it was like watching two people connect over things and like certain experiences that like not being from the South and then moving into a space where you're navigating a lot of like publicity, like that just you would be on the outside of. So I really appreciated. LOL, we all learned about Tish's podcast because of Alandria. Absolutely. Thank you, Ewan. Do not forget to like the live to everybody just joining. So I'm going to start with just a little bit. This just gives some context onto who Alandria is and what types of things are important to her. This was arguably like a very small moment, but it was just one personally that I enjoyed. So let's start.
No, I know. Because just being raised in Alabama and moving to Houston right after I graduated, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm so much different from the city girls. Like I just don't get it. The way they live, I don't get it. Maybe the way I live, they just don't get it. But it's like, I don't know. I just like, I have morals. I have all these beautiful things. And it's like, their life is way more faster. They kind of take more pride into like materialistic things. I was like, okay, I appreciate the smaller things actually. Like, you know, when it comes to dating, just small gestures like opening my car door, being a gentleman. Yep. They don't really care about many things like that. It's like, as long as you have the funds, that's what gets them, you know, going. It's like, that doesn't really work for me. You know, small town country girl, open my door, buy me a flower or two, you know, stand on the right side of the street. You know, I just value things such as things like that. I truly feel like me growing up in the countryside truly made me that type of woman, you know?
1,000,000%.
Yeah.
I'm the exact same way.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. And I'm the exact same way. Yeah, I think that Tish's accent is cute. I think that Alandria, like she wasn't putting on the show. What she is looking for is a partner who respects her, considers her first, does chivalrous things, and proves that they let her be feminine and soft like she wants to be and not leading things that a man could take off of her plate. That's what she means. And I think that that's absolutely beautiful that she's able to articulate that and to just voice the other side. I think it's absolutely beautiful if a woman knows that what she needs and what's going to bring her security is funds. Both things are okay. What if both are okay? They both are. But I love hearing Alandria talk about like what's important to her, because I don't know, like it just like adds a lot of explanation. Like she's truly just a girl from a small town who cares about the small things, and she's already a celebrity. But even as more comes around her, I think that she's still going to stay true to who she is. Okay, going forward a little bit, let's see. Okay. I want to go to when she talks about her family a little bit.
It's a mixture of like excitement, nervousness, because you don't even know how the guys are gonna look. Not saying the looks are everything.
No,
but
I
it's just
saw
like,
you all saying that.
you know, like
Like,
it better be cute. You know,
seriously.
I know looks is not everything, but it's like I have to enjoy looking at you too.
What sign are you? Are you
a Gemini?
I thought she was a Taurus for sure.
Really? I'm a
Okay, this is where they find out that she almost has a similar birthday as her daughter. Oh wait, actually that might be when she says
I
it.
just feel like so many things you're saying
Yeah.
is such a Taurus thing. So did you bond with everyone in the villa? Like
I did.
And did you make like real friendships?
I did. I bonded with everybody. Like literally, people would tell you, like I'm watching the old podcast back from people that got dumped from the island early. They would literally say I'm the heart of the villa, the mom of the villa, the therapist. Like, because I'm a big sister. I'm a big sis of 6. So it's like I always take
Are you
people under-
really?
yeah. I'm always taking people under my wing, even when people are feeling left out or feeling alone. Like I'm always that person that's going up to them, making them feel seen for the first time. Like me and Austin, one of the guys on the show, built a
And by the way, Austin never deserved her friendship and definitely never deserved Chelley's friendship, never deserved to be in the villa. One of the questions that I would ask Austin if I was at the reunion, just a quick side trail, is I would say, do you think that you deserve to be here? After seeing Sierra kicked off and Yulissa kicked off for racism, I'm sure you've seen that your posts have gone viral. Do you think that you deserve to be here after your racist, ableist, and bigoted values that you shared across social media? I'm just curious, you know? And also, what was the reference photo that you provided your tattoo artist? And also, what correlation in your mind exists between you having an alleged tattoo and then you being anti-racist? Those are the questions I would like to hear for Austin, just briefly. But hearing that she's the big sister of 6, I thought that was very enlightening. I think that, you know, I have friends who are the eldest daughter, you know, and they're Black women, the eldest daughter in the family, and they've talked to me about the pressure that's fell on them, as well as sometimes the hurt or the trauma that comes with being the eldest daughter. So I thought that Alandria is like in a very safe space on the podcast to even dive like a little bit into that. But it, like, again, knowing that she had to have the burden to like not to just have to like watch her reactions, to have to like tone police herself while also helping other people process their emotions. It just annoys me that had to happen. Always praises his eldest daughter from Mississippi. It's so real. Thank you for chiming in and adding that to the conversation as well. Oh, we also learned, sorry, see this underlined, Alandria's favorite food is country fried steak. Now, knowing that, if I get the chance to interview Alandria, I need to make her a drink that starts with country fried something. And I forget what she said her favorite drink was, but she did say that in another interview. Like she said something else that she loves, and I'm going to think of something. Country fried, I'm going to think of something phenomenal for her to drink. Former bartender, like to incorporate that sometimes. Okay, let's see. Okay, I loved this moment as well. Alandria talks about one thing that she wishes she could change about her experience.
in the beginning. I was always, even when it came, like I said, prior to coming on the show, I will always, before I make a decision, always think about how would it affect everyone around me? Parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, grandparents. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never really thought for myself. So even coming to the villa, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be open-minded. I'm gonna be this. I'm gonna be that. And it's like I forgot to be selfish in the beginning. Decided to be selfish the last week. And I'm not gonna say it was too late, but I'm glad that I did, you know?
Totally.
So yeah.
I just started therapy and she
It's so interesting because Alandria goes on to say that if the timing had worked out differently and if she had been with Nick since the beginning, it's possible that she would have thought that he was childish. So I think they really did. Like, listen, God doesn't play about Alandria nor her timing. I think that things really did fall in exactly as they were supposed to at the right time. And it's crazy because Nick just looks like a completely different person from the beginning of the experience to after. Like that video that they shared of Nick and Alandria drawing what their perfect match would look like before the experience and then reacting to that recently, which I don't know why that was released so late. But that's here nor there. Nick looks like he was like a baby. Like to quote, was it Alandria who said breast milk on the face? Like he looked like a baby. Now he's a man. Now he's a man. Okay. Ooh, French 75s. 70. What is that? What is French 75s? I might have to look that up later. Okay, so she wishes that she would have been more selfish in the beginning. I wish she was more selfish in the beginning too. I won't say that comment actually because it was about Helga and we don't need to bring her into it. Okay? We don't. Okay, Alandria talks about moments that she wishes that we saw as viewers, and she talks about how she wishes that we got to see more of her personality because on the edit she was like very strict, very poised, very posed, and like she has a good time. Like there's times where she was goofing around just as everybody else, like letting her walls down, letting her guard down, and then she goes on to talk about specifically how when her mom came is when her walls really came down. Accent came out, walls came down, and she felt like herself again after feeling so drained in that experience. Oh, Alandria said she was also on Hinge. Okay, I must have missed that, going back to what I said earlier. Let's go forward a little bit to Alandria talking about her job. Again, I'll never get over her being an elevator salesman. I would love to see a TikTok from her sort of incorporating that, especially since all the men at her company talked down to her about her goals. I would love to see a video of her like on an elevator, like literally, honestly, even at the company that she worked for and going up the elevator with the caption like elevating from this job that I hate or something. I don't know, something shady because fuck you guys. What? I'm signed. I'm a model. I'm smizing. And what? My glamour shot did look better than the rest of you on the team. And what?
the biggest culture shock leaving the villa was that you are very famous.
Yes. Yes. It's so crazy because even when I started my job 3 years ago, I would always joke with my coworkers, like, I'm not gonna be here long. I'm gonna be famous. Like, I'm gonna be famous. And like, they're just like, oh, what you gonna do? OnlyFans? Like, fucking men.
Totally.
I'm like, well, no.
Always a man. It's always a man. It's never not a man.
Oh, but I'm gonna be famous. And they'll be like, well, famous what? I'm like, because I'm pretty. They'll be like, oh, you're
And
joking.
you've kind of known that since you were little.
Literally, I wanted to always be a model as a kid. I was so obsessed with Tyra Banks, so obsessed with Naomi Campbell. Used to watch Next Top Model all the freaking time. Between that and Disney Channel, like I would flip the channels back and forth, whichever one.
Love that she's a Disney girl. She talked earlier in the episode too about how she used to have on Hannah Montana. Alandria. What? Like what? We have so much in common. I would love to get a drink. Or
one goes on commercial quickly, I would like flip it back to the other one. But go into the mirror, like smize at myself, like, smile with my eyes and like practice my face. And obviously my mom raising 3 beautiful young girls, she didn't have the funds to put me through like a modeling agency and things like that. So it's like, you know what? Put that on the back burner. My mom always pushed education. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to college as a backup plan. Like I'm going to be a model. I don't know, so as a kid, I kind of lost sight of it because being from a small town in Alabama, like what connections do you have as far as like modeling? So for a minute, there was like a distant memory for me. So after college, I went to the elevator industry, ended up doing that for 3 years, but I would literally be on the Teams call looking at my picture and be like, oh, you're not supposed to be here, Alandria. Literally like a glam shot. I'm like, girl, this is selling elevator parts. This is cool. But it's like, this is not your reality. Like it has to be something bigger than this.
Has to be. When she said that was her job, I was like, I would buy every elevator. What are you selling? Yes. I'll take 15,000. How many times can you come back this month? Like what? Yes, I'm seeing in the comments, rising above a job that's beneath me. That would be a great caption. E1 is also adding to the conversation. The way she elevates everything around her is so ironic to that point too. Look at how much she's elevated. Nick, absolutely. Absolutely. The power of Alandria. Because do you know why I tolerated Taylor? It was for Alandria. And now that he's with Clark, I can say, Clark, I think you should say, I pick someone else. Okay, going forward to another great part where she talks about the initial feelings that she had or hesitation surrounding the relationship having grown up in the Deep South.
Although I liked what I saw, I didn't really know if Nick liked what he saw. You get what I'm saying? And
Totally.
some guys that don't look like me, they don't mind being physical with you, but actually valuing you as a woman,
Totally.
actually taking it to the next level and being in a relationship with you and marrying you is something totally different.
Totally.
You know, so dating outside of my race have always scared me because it's like, am I a fetish to you? Are you fetishizing me? Like, I never know. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah, I would have never.
I'm so like finicky when it comes to that. So it's like, you know what? Let me see if you truly value me. Show me that you really want to be with somebody like me. You know what I mean?
Totally.
So like, I don't know. I was always kind of iffy. Like, I knew he would always pick me for challenges. Any chance Nick ever got to kiss me, he took that chance. But then it played into like the physical part. Like, do you just physically like get into with me?
Right.
Or do you really want to get in? The whole time he was studying me from afar. Like watching the small clips back of him yearning for me. I was like, oh, I wish I would have seen this in the villa. You know what I mean?
And you don't get to see any of that.
I don't. And I felt literally like coming out of the villa and seeing those clips and seeing people be like,
let's pause. The fact that she felt comfortable enough to have that discussion is like very important. Very important. The fact that Tish Cyrus left space in the conversation for that to be talked about is very important. I love hearing Alandria talk about like real things. Like I just love hearing her talk uninterrupted. Like this interview and hearing her talk about that, the hesitations, wondering, is he fetishizing me? And the kissing challenges, sort of like kind of reaffirming, like, is that why? But then getting further context and be like, no, like he was genuinely interested in me from the very beginning. Like he was interested in me, studying me, showing interest to me in ways that they could. I just thought that was such a beautiful conversation. Thank you, Kendra. I was extremely skeptical. It was a breath of fresh air. And again, I'm saying this as a white woman, so we'll take what I say with a grain of salt. But I just love listening to Alandria be able to talk about things that matter in a space where it seemed like she felt comfortable enough to do so. And absolutely, thank you for adding to that as well, Kendra. Thank you. It's a testament. I'm sorry, I'm combining two. She didn't push back once. That's how it should be. Absolutely. She gave affirmations, and yes, that makes sense. Absolutely. That's exactly how it should be. I'm like, okay, Tish, I wasn't even familiar with the fact you had a podcast, much less your podcast game, but here we are. The fact that she knows Nick was yearning for her is very romantic. Yes, it is. Toya, I'm so glad you made it on here. It's always a pleasure to see you. I'm reading a couple of more comments just in case people are listening to this at a later time on Spotify. I'm reading a couple of more comments in the chat before I go forward in the interview. Rocky Matters says, Tish, especially being a mom of girls, understood you have to leave space for girls to speak as well as being a woman herself. Absolutely. And talking about the similarities between Alandria's personality, Gemini, borderline Taurus, and her daughter, who's a Taurus, and the way that they express their emotions. It was just beautiful. Let me make sure that there's not a further piece of this portion before I go forward.
Alandria, wake up. Like your man is right there. I'm like, I did not see this. I don't know how it's like watching the clips. It looked like it's so obvious. I don't know. I guess I was in La La Land in the villa, but he did it from afar. Like when I'm looking off to someone else, he's staring at me, studying me, or having side conversations like, what is Alandria like trying to figure me out. So it's like, I'm not physically or apparent, like I'm not there to hear that stuff.
Right.
You know, but just watching it back now, I was like, dang, this man truly studied me until he was ready for me. He knew he had to put on his big boy britches and be this grown man that I needed him to be. And I feel like with the other guys, I intimidated them because I knew what I wanted.
And with the other girls, he wasn't. He wouldn't. He shan't.
Very stern.
I would think you would be intimidating to
Yeah, to a lot of
Yeah.
them. And he was the only one that was willing to step up to the plate. But he stepped up once he was ready. Because
Alandria's got everything. Brain, body. I can't think of anything else that starts with B. I thought I had a lot more.
in the beginning, I truly feel like if we would have coupled up early on, I would have been like, oh, I'm good off Nick. Like, he is just too childish for me. So I think our story played out the way it should have. He, watched me for weeks, learned what I like, matured within those few weeks, and became the man that I needed him to be to make this thing work. So
If I didn't see their relationship, I wouldn't believe that. Like, if I didn't see that relationship and see Nick, the same way that if somebody talked to me about how Cordell handles situations, but then told me his age, I'd be like, I doubt it. Like, if someone was like, do you think that this is how a 23-year-old would react? I would say, I doubt it. I do think Nick is 24, but like, that's the reality. Like, he did mature for her and put on his big boy britches. Yes. And she is so emotionally intelligent. Absolutely. And she knows herself very well and what she wants, what she needs. Oh, we also learned that Alandria hates coffee. She said that she loves hot cocoa. That's the beverage. Okay, so it needs to be something between Southern fried, because she likes Southern fried steak. Is that what it's called? Something steak. And then she also likes hot cocoa. Like, that's my mission, is to figure out a drink that combines the both. Yes, thank you. Brain, body, beauty, business sense. I need an alliteration. Thank you. Oh, okay, and more. Beauty, brain, body, behavior. You guys are too good to me. You guys are too good to me. That's pretty much my thoughts. Oh, ew. Also, Nick is messy, apparently, allegedly peed all over the toilet in the villa. That's gonna have to be cleaned right up. That's gonna have to be. Country fried steak. This is my sign that I need to eat dinner soon. So just know that I'm only going to be on for about 15 more minutes. If you'd be so kind as to like the live before I hop off of here. The last thing I'm going to be going over is a little bit of a shift in energy. So I want to provide a trigger warning. I'm going to be talking about BuzzFeed's alleged apology. If that's something that you don't have the space for right now, because it's going back to their racist post that they had towards Chelley, please log off. I won't be offended. I want you to protect your mental health and prioritize that. So I'm going to talk about their alleged apology, or lack thereof, if you will, and just like some general notes that I have about it. And maybe you guys can help me in the chat, whom stays on to have this conversation. Maybe you can help me better articulate myself and what I'm thinking. You could put a little piece of steak with a Bloody Mary. I love that idea. Where's my pencil? Yes. Bloody Mary and steak. What? The problem is, I can't think of anything combining. Like, could I do a country fried marshmallow alongside of like some sort of hot cocoa dish? Like, could I put the marshmallow wrapped in toasted coconut and then deep fry it potentially? Maybe I could do something like that. Or maybe I can make a sweet that looks like a piece of steak and do it on the side of the hot cocoa. That's the relationship that I'm sorry, that's the direction that I'm thinking of for my drink. But that is great as well. Okay, so let's pull up the BuzzFeed article. Okay. I want to make a couple of things clear. And again, like I said, Oh no, your browser has lost connection to your screen share audio. Oh, that's fine. There is no audio on this. Perfect. Okay. With the comments that I have and the constructive criticism that I have about this article is not reflecting back on the writers of this article. I want to start by saying that I think that it's messed up that they had 2 Black employees from their company write this article, because the likely white people who made the mistake in the first place either aren't. Am I still live? Hold on, let me see. I might not be. Oh no, I am. I'm sorry, guys. I think that it's insane that the white people, first of all, the highest person up at Buzzfeed should have to do a video. Like you should be on camera and you should be talking. Thank you for confirming I'm still live. That's number 1. Okay. You don't get to have a cop out. You don't get to have an easy way out. You get to address this and say it as strongly as the disrespect was. Show us your face, because the article talks about how it's difficult to find somebody to really blame this for, like one person to really blame this for. I can think of somebody who's the CEO. Who's the CEO? Unfortunately, it's a trickle down. Everything that happens below you, umbrellas you, is a problem. Also, where's IT? Who made this post? Okay, because usually when someone contributes a post to something, it has to get approved by a team. So who made the post and who contributed it? That's what I would want to know. So I think that those people should have been the ones to have to write the article. I think that them coming at this from a lens of what it means to protect Black communities at work, even when your own company messes up like we did, is trying to shift the narrative to them taking this as a moment to teach others when they couldn't, when the call is coming with inside of the house. You haven't even figured out what it means to protect your Black employees. So maybe before trying to teach others how to learn from your mistake, you should talk about your mistake. I even think the headline for this title, because I don't believe that this article was completely written. Like first of all, I believe that Carlton and Michael, who were asked to write this article, I believe that they were forced to write this article. Second of all, I think that after they wrote this article, there was immense tweaks written from higher ups who are in their PR department, their public relations, who looks over things and says, that would get us in trouble. That's not the thing we want to attach to BuzzFeed. That's a little bit too much accountability or responsibility for us. That's what I think happened after they submitted things. So I refuse to believe that like any of this is really their words anyways. But the headline, I'm not going to do their job for them, for BuzzFeed, that is. I'm also not a journalist, but it should say something like what it means to have unchecked racism and our responsibility to call that out for what it is. What it means to pile on as a large corporate company against a Black woman who doesn't deserve it. Like, I don't know. And like, even the fact that you're not able to name whom you wronged, which is Chelley from Love Island, like that's whom the post was offensive towards. And instead you're making it again about a teaching moment on how to help other large corporations prevent a mess up like yours, just feels wrong. So I'm going to read over like a couple of different parts. With great power in any workplace, institution, or community comes great responsibility. Many of us think of our professional responsibility in concrete and easy to track terms, such as goals or outcomes. I have a problem with this. I'm not in PR, but my best estimate is that this line about responsibility in concrete and easy to track terms is an implication that something like being responsible for, I don't know, not being racist is something that's hard to track. And it's certainly not. right? Like, and it's certainly not. But just as important and frequently overlooked is the responsibility to protect and defend people, especially those who have been historically marginalized and are still fighting against existential discrimination when our institutions cause harm. So they start with their personal experiences. Okay. Media and tech companies like Buzzfeed carry an especially hefty burden. They influence culture, amplify voices, and help shape trends. When that influence is misused, the harm can reverberate loudly. Okay? So we're supposed to feel bad for you now, right? Like that's the language that I'm getting. Like the language I'm getting is that it's a burden to have to be proactive and have a responsibility to not be anti-racist. I'm sorry, to not be racist and to put out content that actually amplifies the people in which you're talking about instead of harming other communities. That's a hefty burden. Okay? It just feels like trying to evoke sympathy. Then we continue on to how does a mass media company, let's go, which is why when a mistake happens, especially one that affects a historically disenfranchised community, the onus is on the media to correct that misstep. Again, that's very vague. The media to correct that misstep instead of talking about themselves as Buzzfeed to correct their very specific misstep, which was racism against Chelley. They're unable to name it. They can't name it. Like they just can't name it. How do you stay true to your personal value? I'm sorry. How does a mass media company do that, though? What about the employees who were affected? How do you stay true to your personal values at a much larger corporation? And how do you broach the topic of the mistake with the people you believe can help right the wrong at your workplace? That whole paragraph is just making this about like yes, that's an internal conversation. We external don't need to be a part of that conversation. You do need to address your employees, but we're here to talk about what you guys said about Chelley, why you thought it was appropriate to say that, how it happened that you felt it was appropriate to say that, and then the impact of you making that post, right? Recently, in a lapse of judgment, is what we're calling this, BuzzFeed published an Instagram carousel where a knuckle sandwich was served to Love Island contestant Michelle Chelley Bisonth. The post went viral, and although it was promptly taken down, the damage was done. And it's a month and a half later, and now you want to talk about it. A lapse of judgment, again, it's just reductive language. It's just reductive language. This mistake deeply hurt members of the Black community, both internally and in our audience. But instead of ignoring the issue or sweeping it under the rug, they want claps for this. We want to use it as a case study of what any workplace or community must face when it falls short and what it looks like to try sincerely to do better. We don't want your case study. You can't even do things right the first time around, right? Like you can't, I can't. We hope that this post will serve as a guiding force for other corporations and their employees when they find themselves, like they're just positive that this is going to happen, that other corporations are going to do this, and that they won't. What they're saying is that we aren't the only ones. Other people will make this mistake. When they find themselves reeling from a mistake, again, we're supposed to feel bad. That's to elicit some sort of emotional response from us, to think that they're anxious over their racism, which is really they're anxious about their effect on their capital, their capital, their profit. We hope this post will serve as a guiding force for other corporations and their employees when they find themselves reeling from a mistake that affects communities that are often marginalized. Again, you offended Chelley, who is a Black woman and who is Haitian. That's who you offended. So let's name it. Okay? They start by giving steps of what to do when something like this happens. This is supposed to be a guiding force. Like, give me a fucking break. You know this was some white woman's idea. You know it was a white woman or some man who had this idea to flip this as a positive spin for how BuzzFeed is leading the way for change. Now we're movements of change. Now we're sparking conversation that needed to be had. You guys are frauds. You are frauds. Exactly. I'm sorry for not engaging with the chat. I'm going back and forth between the articles, so I do apologize. Kendra says, them trying to turn themselves into thought leaders. Exactly. Very white feminist coded. Very. So they start by giving steps. When something like this happens, take time to listen to your audience and employees about how it impacted them. They then cite a group at BuzzFeed that they had, which is called BIO, which was an employee resource group that was marked a safe space for them to talk about their feelings surrounding this issue, which is their Black employees. And the group stands for Black Identities and Opportunities. They then go on to share some of their words, which is a lot of their employees being rightfully very frustrated. And I'm not going to go through these. You may do so. But what I think is that they think that we won't scrutinize them. We can't divest from them if they're already being held responsible enough. Like they've already been through enough. Their employees are upset with them. They've already heard it from other people who are there and within the building. And like that's sort of what I felt like they were trying to do. Like by including all of these quotes, it felt like anything that you have to say to us, we've already heard from other employees. It also felt exploitative, like almost like you had to prove that you had as many Black employees as you do, like that were harmed from your post. Like it's sort of sick. Like I can't explain it, but it's just sort of sick to me. Again, I'm not always the best at articulating myself, but them using a meme, like it's just too much. Like this isn't a fucking joke. Like it's not a fucking joke. Step 2, take responsibility and make genuine apologies. With the meme of Shaq, I owe you an apology. First of all, don't use a meme of a Black man right now as you're a white ass company apologizing for a racist mistake towards a Black woman. Maybe have your CEO record a fucking video. An apology. Like maybe have him record that video and then use the meme of the actual BuzzFeed CEO if you're going to use a meme, which by the way, this isn't an article about how to do, what is it even called? How to do a smoky eye. No, we don't need a meme. This is not that. This is not how to get back into your flirty feelings in your 20s. This is a serious conversation. So they're encouraging step 2, take responsibility and make genuine apologies, which you guys have yet to do. Like step 2 and you still haven't done it. The article goes on to say, it's hard to get a corporate apology right. Apologies are best when they come from a human person who can show empathy. But when a mistake happens at a structural or a group level, it's impossible to put a single face to that sentiment. No, it's not. Who's the CEO? It's not impossible. Who was the leader of the department handling the Love Island posts? It's not hard. I can do it easily. If Spectrum has one employee working for them that stalks a woman and then unalives her after a call, do you think that they're just going to say, well, it's really hard to identify the exact thing. Let's just go ahead and take collective blame at Spectrum for this? No, they would be like, we do not share the thoughts with that person. So, like, which idiot did that? But that's the thing. Shh. It was all of you. Shh. As quiet as it's kept, all of you said that the post was okay. As quiet as it's kept, you thought you were being fucking funny. You thought it would be slick. You thought now is the time. Trump's the president. I'm just trying to watch my blood pressure. BuzzFeed hasn't always gotten it right, especially when we leaned too heavily on corporate speak that didn't align with the voice of our brands. Now we're talking about something else. Like, we don't give a fuck. Like, what is this? What is this? A history lesson? The key. Now they're saying what the key to giving an apology for being racist is, when there's been no apology, is to know that the audience and the employees can feel the hollowness of a corporate apology when it's not done well. The irony. That part's true. On the flip side, we must also learn to They're telling us I'm sorry. They're telling us what to do. I'm sorry. The next line I missed when I was reading this because it would have made me vomit. They said it's hard to get an apology right, and they've leaned too heavily on voices that don't align with their brand. The next part of that is putting the onus on us. Or, I'm sorry, the apology, non-apology to the Black community that follows BuzzFeed, to Chelley. The onus is on you guys, apparently. You must learn to accept genuine apologies. Hey, did you see that apology? Oh, is it in the room with us? Okay. It's okay if you're not in the place to hear the apology at the moment. Nobody is telling you to shut off your emotions like a robot. This just feels like, what's that word, chat, when you talk down to somebody? Like, this just feels like that word, whatever that word is. It's okay. You're not in a place to hear the apology at the moment. Nobody's telling you to shut off your emotions like a robot. Feel your anger, embrace your disappointment or your disgust. But when you're ready, be willing to accept an honest apology and step into the healing process with the energy of forgiveness. However, this is completely dependent on whether or not the apology was in fact genuine. Then they talk about how they should double down on internal checks and balances, patronize. Thank you. It is both of those. It's patronize and I almost said condensation. I don't know how to say that word, but it is that. It is that. Condension. Did they apologize to no. No apology. Then they go on to talk about how at BuzzFeed they already have several checks and balances in place, like a little sassy. For example, we have culture lead editors who work as a guiding light for the community they represent. They encourage, write, and edit a wide range of culturally diverse posts. We have customized tools built into our content management system, or CMS. Like, we don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck. Like, I'm getting pissed. Got to put my hair up real quick. Okay. The clip art is condescension. Oh, condescension. Condescension. Thank you, Carmen. Condescending, condescension. That really did help. Just in case you didn't notice, I'm wearing my Team JLS shirt, Team Janae, Leah, Serena. I will be making a Team CO and a Nicolandria shirt eventually. Yes, apparently thank you, just call me Bon. Apparently the genuine reaction to the public is emotional and angry. Like, step 4, call out microaggressions and racism as they happen. This is a hard one. Is it? Hey Siri, is it hard to call out microaggressions and racism as it happens? No, it's actually very easy to put bigoted idiots in their place. All you have to do is say, why was that funny? Why was it funny to be racist? Thank you, Siri. Thank you. Thank you, Siri. When you feel like your job may be on the line, or you may face some type of repercussion for speaking up, the stakes are infinitely higher. So proceed with caution. You know who should proceed with caution when the stakes are higher? Black and brown people at their companies. Black and brown people, trans people, people who might have an ableist boss. People who are genuinely at risk for losing their position for nothing to do with the merit of how they work, their work ethic, what they bring to the company, but just instead to do with the fact that it would be easier to not have to placate to you. It would be easier to not have to think about what I have to break down, like what sort of internalized racism or ism thoughts like I may have to unpack and correct myself for. So proceed with caution, but do your best to call out microaggressions and racism in real time. Oftentimes, we may wait to address an issue, but by then it's already hindsight, and you may feel pressure to stay silent. All of this is about how to react to a corporate setting, and none of it is about the racist post that they made against Chelley. I have yet to see a paragraph explain why they used a graphic of a knuckle sandwich, of why Chelley was the only one they did that to, of how misogynoir has impacted them. So like has fragmented itself in their brain so much that it came out unintentionally. Or if this was a post from AI, as they claim at some point in this article, what did you program your AI to think was funny? Like, this is all on you. Like, this is all on you. And this post, oh my God. Oh my God. They used Malcolm X. I mean, I'm just speechless. This is so self-righteous. Exactly. Can we talk about the real root of the thing? Thank you, Kendra. Thank you. We don't work at Buzzfeed. We don't need their required training that they should have had. I just, this is racism is because of white people. So the people who shouldn't back down from calling out racism is white people who have the privilege to call out other white people. So if this message was directed at the white corporations who fuck up, maybe don't use a picture of Malcolm X to inspire them, as that feels sacrilegious, right? Like that feels offensive, right? This sentence, it's not solely the job of the Black employees to be the voice of all Black people. We're not monolithic. No identity is truly monolithic. In our situation, it could be possible that a lack of representation and education led to the mistake and the missteps that followed. Like, it's just not lost on me, the fact that they in my opinion, made their Black employees write this article. Exactly. The further you get along in the article, the more of a shitstorm dumpster fire it gets, proving, yes, that this very intentional is so little care. What a backhanded insult of a statement. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, it's like, okay, more training if you're Black employees, like all of those things I agree with. All of these things I agree with. However, this is not a teaching moment. And it's even more fucked up that Black employees are using and draining themselves further to educate other companies about their white bosses' racism. Oh my God. Here, finally, like this is something we can talk about for 1 second that's like not as heavy. Do you remember when we thought, come back up here, Nick Jonas. Come to the fucking front, Nick. Damn it. Do you remember when we thought Nick Jonas was dying when he got announced as being diabetic on the Disney Channel? I do. I do. I watched this show or movie and the name is completely, is it Dear White People? Maybe like it's blanking on me, but okay. Step 7, because now we're on step 7. They've had 7 steps to being anti-racist. Not one of them has addressed their own racism, how they got there, who did it, what they're going to do to not do it anymore. They're just teaching others. Each one, teach one. Pointing fingers solves little to nothing. Each one, teach one. I'm confused. I'm confused. We've all made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Not everybody makes a racist mistake at your company. I think sometimes we're more willing to jump down each other's throats than to actually speak. This article is just tone policing the audience. It pisses me off. It's tone policing the response. That's what it is. It's tone policing any Black woman, any Black man, any Black individual who had a problem with reading that article. It's also policing me, and I'm a white woman. Like actually, I will jump down your throat, BuzzFeed. Like actually, I will. I will. Never think you can do no wrong. You know how Hannah Montana starts the song? Wow. Like it's just like the memes, the song lyrics. Okay, let's see. Anything about them? Okay. Our responsibility is to protect people, especially those who have been historically marginalized. The fight against existential discrimination is going to take more than 11 points on a BuzzFeed list article. Calling out the issue and taking accountability is a move in the right direction. And hopefully this can be something we can call back to when we need to correct the next mistake, address new employee concerns, and ultimately stay true to our values in the workplace. Not you guys not already apologizing. You still haven't apologized for the racist post against Chelley, and you're already planning your next one. Like, are you guys sick? Are you okay? Yes, exactly. Pointing fingers in this one, yes, is appropriate. Is appropriate. Through these steps and our work, we are aiming every day to promote Black joy, to protect Black women, and to help steer a much larger and whiter organization in a direction that's inclusive for us and all others. Even in the last line, and whiter organization, these white bosses should get off their ivory fucking towers or their porcelain throne in the bathroom and fucking make a video or just delete yourselves. And by delete yourselves, so I don't get banned, I just mean delete BuzzFeed. Just delete BuzzFeed. It wasn't a mistake. They knew what they were doing. They thought they were being funny. They thought they could get away with it. They rightfully thought that they wouldn't have to throw anybody under the bus, and they didn't. And the reality is, because they didn't, it probably came from pretty high fucking up. Like it probably came from pretty high fucking up, you know? That's my guess. And the joke was tone deaf, stupid, irrelevant, not funny. It wasn't a joke. It was weird. It was weird. Exactly. Please don't. That's the energy that they had. That's the energy that they had. Yeah. So that's how I'm ending. Sorry that I'm ending on such a heavy thing. I think their article's bullshit. I think it's bullshit that they had again. I think it was Jamal and Michael write this article. I hope that you guys are heavily compensated. I'm sorry, it was Carlton, Jamal, and Michael. I hope you are heavily compensated for writing this article. I'm talking 50K. Give me like what? What? We have to put our names on this. We have to put our names on this and teach other people and talk about some shit that's irrelevant when that's not what people. All I'm getting from this is they took a situation of wrongdoing of white people and made their Black employees right their wrongs and try to calm down what they perceived as, please know if you're listening in the car, I'm using air quotes, an angry mob of Black people. That's what they thought. They thought you guys, you know, you're Black, you know, talk to the other people who are also Black and, you know, just calm them down. Just do what you guys do. Like that's how I picture the white CEOs talking and sounding, just like that. 50K and a sabbatical. Absolutely. Absolutely. So anyways, thank you to every single person who joined me for this live. We've been all over. We've been through the good. We've been through Watch What Happens Live, Alandria's first interview. We've been through the weirdness of Nick's lives. And this is the longest time I think I've ever gone live. If all 101 of you would like this live before you leave, it would be so much appreciated. Everybody, let's take a deep breath. Like, what are we going to do after this? Everybody take care of yourself. This was heavy. I know it's triggering. It pains me that there has been so much racism and so much misogynoir throughout this season to have to talk about and discuss. So I just want you guys to know that it brings me no joy to have to make content about a racist company. I wish that companies would do better, and I wish that they wouldn't do this. And I'll never be following BuzzFeed nasty ever, ever, ever. Anyways, everybody, have a great evening. I watch Love is Blind UK. I'm going to listen to my spleen and eat some dinner, and I might even be on later in the evening so that I can talk about it. Okay? So everybody have a great night. Thank you for popping in. Thank you to Always Priceless, E1, Kendra, everybody who popped in that held it down.